Alright, I'm going to practice some flexibility studies. This is from the Walter Smith Lip Flexibility on the Trumpet 41 Studies for Embouchure Development. I don't work out of this very much, but I got it from an old teacher of mine from high school, Roger, and I'm going to play some of it. The way I do a lot of these exercises, I start at the beginning and I just go through as far as I can. The main thing here that I'm working on is trying to play as relaxed as I can as I'm going higher, which is what a lot of people struggle with. A lot of students that I'm working with have the same issue. All right. Move this way. exercise 2. This one's interesting. It starts with open. You go through all your chromatic fingerings all the way down to 1, 2, and 3. And then the last one goes back to the first open one. I thought that was interesting. This one goes pretty quick. My exercise 3, we're doing high C already. Range and flexibility. This is something that I struggled with for a long time. The idea that whenever you use a muscle, the body seems to respond in a way that when you flex a muscle, your body naturally seems to try to flex all the muscles around it to support it. And I used this example before, like the boxer who's punching. When you throw a punch, your tricep is extending your arm forward, right? And we have this other muscle on the other side, the bicep, which pulls your arm in. Well, when your arm is tense, and this is the way we think about this is the way it seems like we think about our muscles when we're using a group of muscles, like the tricep, for example. A lot of times we just sort of think arm, right? Use your arm muscles. And we have all this extra tension in the bicep, which pulls against the tricep. So like boxers, when they extend for a punch, that tricep is pushing outward, but the bicep is holding them back. And so you have these two muscles fighting each other. To get an effective punch, from what I understand, is you need to learn to relax the bicep enough that the tricep can fully extend as fast as possible to get an effective punch. So when we're playing the trumpet, and what I always struggled with, whatever muscle group you use, we tend to overstress the muscles around that area. Like, for me, when I'm holding a firm embouchure, if my corners are firm, I'll tend to want to overflex the inside instead of keeping it fairly relaxed. If I'm using tongue arch, like to get into the upper register, if I arch my tongue up to speed up the air, my throat will start to tense up a little bit. If I push harder with my stomach, I feel my throat and chest want to tense up. And so for me, and for when I do these flexibility exercises, especially as I go higher, when I get to about the top of the staff, up to a high C or up around E or so, I have to remind myself to relax certain parts so I don't cut off the air or cut off the sound. I'm going to move on to, all these pretty much go up to a high C. Let me see. Who's number 4? Is that Tilin or Tylen Mitrovic? Tylen Mitro. And why is there an accent over the C? Nope, that's not. That's just a dot on my screen. Hi, thanks for joining. Is that how you pronounce it, Tylen, or is it Tillen? So there I can feel it. I have way too much. I'm overdoing it. The throat's starting to tense up. I have too much tension in the lips. I'm starting to wear out a little quicker. So I like to start with a sigh. I've talked about this in other videos. When I play my first note, I try to mimic that feeling as close as I can when I'm playing, especially in the throat and chest area, and then start pushing with my stomach. Like that last one with second valve, it was just a more open sound. It felt more effortless. It was, if I play a scale, and if I try to play without tension, now you're going to see my cheeks puff out a little bit here on the side. And I noticed I saw that with some of the professional trumpet players that I would watch. They would have little air pockets form. And what I took away from that is, if you try to play as efficiently as you can, you're only using the muscles completely necessary to do the job. Now if you're a beginner and you're playing like that, you're not even close to using the right muscle groups. But when you see those professionals firming up the correct muscle groups in here, again, my takeaway is you're only using as much muscle as you need and you're not going to wear out as fast. It's definitely not hindering playing up to a high F for me, let's say. And so for me, I try to take all that tension, I try to pull it away from the center and try to load it on the corners and keep that inside loose so it'll vibrate. I'm going to move on to a couple of Arbans. This is Preparatory Exercises on a Turn, page 91 in the Arban book I have. I really like these exercises. I use these for my double tonguing practice. I don't know how the camera's going to take this, but I'm going to turn to the side here. And so all that extra tension I have, when I double tongue, I tend to tighten up the throat and the inside of the lips. And so I got to remind myself, especially when I'm dipping down to those low notes, they don't want to speak unless I'm really super relaxed. So for me to really get these down, it takes me a couple days just to really get them solid and get them as fast as I can when I'm double tonguing in all keys. I'm going to check the volume real quick. Hold on a second. Wow, that's just beautiful. All right. So for every exercise you do, when you're introducing a new concept like tonguing or double tonguing, tongue arch, I try to be. I think you ought to really pay attention to what unnecessary muscle starts to tense up and flex, because it's probably going to hinder your progress. So here for me again, my throat starts to tense. I start to tense up in the middle, my lips a little bit more, and the sound starts to go away. So I'm going to be extra conscious of relaxing. Especially as I speed these up. Now these start on an upbeat, so I'm starting with a K articulation, kata kata. What you probably notice is the note that I'm accenting it. If you notice it, maybe you have good sensitive ears. It's going out of tune every now and then. So what I work on with these is getting that accented note as in tune as possible. And so when I see a note coming up, I try to anticipate if I think it's going to be sharp or flat to try to get it right in the center of the note. There's a little bit of aiming involved. My valve's sticking. Close. I'm going to check the sound level real quick. Yeah, most of the notes are popping out like I would want them to, but every now and then one slips in, it's a little fuzzy or a little out of tune. What am I on? Now, if you see what I'm doing, the Arban has you play an E up above the staff, not above the staff, on top of the staff 1 and 2 every now and then. So instead of I'm going, and that's the fingering I got used to. So here's where I start to tense up a little bit more. The longer I can hold off tensing up, the higher I end up going. So I really try to focus on relaxing, especially in the middle, the throat, the chest, and starting with a sigh as much as I can. Can you check the sound real quick? So what I'm hearing is the top notes are getting louder than the bottom notes. Instead of accenting the bottom notes like I want to. I'm going to try that again. See if that works any better. Yeah, it's closer. So with these exercises, what you want, kind of like when you listen to Carnival of Venice, it sounds like two different trumpets playing together. It's sort of the effect that I'm going for with these. And you can hear it as you go faster. Hear the extra tension where the lower note didn't pop out. So I'm going to go back and start with more of a sigh. A little bit too much tension. Alright, so with all these exercises, they go up to about a G above the staff. I usually go back and take some of them up an octave if I can. When you're working on your double tonguing, you don't have to be working on a fast passage to work on your double tonguing. In fact, I would encourage that you work on slower passages double tongued and then gradually work them up to fast. I have a lot of students who, like on a single note, try to double tongue something and it ends up being like a double tongue because they can sort of do it, but uh-oh, something's happening. My phone's being... Did it still go? Uh-oh. Alright. I think it's back. So, am I still on? Hold on a second. Something's goofy happened. So with double tonguing, I think there's a tendency to sort of go all out with your double tonguing. And I have a lot of students who naturally can double tongue very, very quickly, or they can do it very, very slowly and controlled. So they can, let me get, what's an example? So they can play it slow and controlled, like, or they can do it out of control fast, but they can't do anything in between, which is extremely impractical. So I definitely recommend with double tonguing, start slow and then gradually increase your tempo as fast as you can. But start from the bottom up, build that foundation, otherwise it's not good for anything. Alright, what time is it? I gotta go teach a lesson. Thank you guys for watching. Do you have any questions before I go? You got about 30 seconds and then I gotta get out of here. Again, that's the reason I like double tonguing on scalar passages or on these interval patterns, because especially if it's a scale pattern that you're not used to, it forces you to slow down just to learn the scale, learn the notes. Like I like practicing double tonguing on D flat scale patterns. It forces me to slow down and think about the scale, and if I'm double tonguing, it forces me to double tongue slow. So, personal thing. But I think it's helped a lot of people. Just practice slow. It can be monotonous practicing slow, but if you don't go through the work, you'll never improve. Alright, that's all I got. I'm going to talk to you guys later. It looks like somebody just jumped in. Sorry. We'll catch you later. Next time. Bye.